What up, it's your man Dream. When Dream motivates, yo, listen, if you don't have a pen, paper, or your notepad, get ready. It's going down in a major way. I got the wealth chat in the building. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Blueprint, where we bring value for all entrepreneurs. We have Joel Tankard in the building. David Wren is in here. And Benaisha Poole-Watson is in the building. The Wealth Chat is here. And listen, I want to say first and foremost, thank y'all for just your time. Like, we on millisecond time. We was on here before we got on. We was like, look, man, we're going to do this in 32 seconds. We got to go do this. Time is money. Their phones is ringing. It's crazy. But we're going to get right into it. So I advise y'all right now, if you have never done it, go ahead and get your notes ready. So let's go ahead and give a 60-second just rundown of everybody, starting with my sister flying in from Nashville. Thank you for coming to your people. Just go ahead and let everybody know what you got going on.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I love what you're doing. And yeah, Benaisha and I are super excited about the Well Chat. We know it's going to make impact. And we got David in the building with us. But yeah, I'm married to an amazing man, Ben Tankard, jazz artist. We've been married for like 20 something years. I cannot believe it. 5 children, blended family. We had a very successful reality show called The Tankard Stick in the Water on Bravo for 3 successful seasons. I have my own show, The Jewel Tankard Show. And then now, of course, Benaisha and I are partnered up to do this Wealth Chat because we both are really passionate about making sure people really get the education that they need, people that look like us, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be here.
It's your first time in Dallas?
No, I've been here tons of times.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm on my private jet. Mr. David, man, go ahead and let everybody know what you got going on, brother.
Like Joel said, thank you for having me. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. My name is David Wren. The controlling member of Prosperity Mint. It's a full-service precious metals dealership here out of Dallas, Texas. And, you know, we've been doing it for a while, and I just love the overall collaboration that we have with the Wealth Chat and everyone else that's here. And looking forward to doing more things with you, Dream.
Man, appreciate it. And shout out, man, listen. I got my very first silver. What is this called, bro?
Silver round.
I got the silver round. We're going to talk about that later, but y'all better get your silver up. Meantime, my sister from another mister, y'all already know we rock out every Wednesday on Clubhouse, but Benaisha Poole-Watson's in the building. Y'all know her as Benaisha Poole-Watson, but I know her as Sissy behind the closed doors, but so proud of you and everything you got going on. But let everybody know what's going on and what's coming up.
Sure. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Benaisha Poole-Watson, and I am the owner of a federally chartered bank. It is based right here in Dallas, Texas. I serve nationwide, and my goal is just to inspire, help, and motivate and give my people access to capital, help them get into the position that they would like to get into through my lending processes. I have over 1,000 loan programs. It is a federally chartered bank, and I'm nationwide. So I serve everybody in every city and every state, and I can finance commercial and residential real estate up to $650 million. So I'm just trying to be an asset to the community. That's all, just trying to help people.
We're just dropping mics. Look, we're just dropping mics here and there. Look, I want to start this off, and whoever wants to trigger this off first, this is a very important question. I ask everybody on this podcast. Is entrepreneurship, can entrepreneurship be taught, or is it in your blood?
Go first.
Okay, so I would say I definitely think it can be taught, but I do think that there needs to be a high desire because it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of diligence. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence and mental toughness, and I think that's where a lot of people get caught up. Like, I look at how people handle pressure, whether it's financial pressure or emotional pressure, and I think that's the real indicator on if they're going to really be cut out for entrepreneurship or not.
What you think, man?
You know, everything that Jules said is absolutely correct. I would just add this. One of the things that is always overlooked in starting a business and being an entrepreneur is not so much the funding, the cash, and everything else. The most important thing is your energy. I know Jewel is a workaholic. I know Benaisha is a workaholic. Dream, you're a workaholic. I'm a workaholic. Because if you don't have a work ethic that starts at 3 a.m. and ends at 2:30 the next morning, and get up and do it again. That's one of the things that get overlooked in business
You
and
get up at 3?
creating. Sometimes we have to.
You get up at 3?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I have to.
Joel, you get up at 3?
Absolutely not.
I mean,
But I respect him though. I respect him.
Yo, I'm lacking right now. I'm lacking right now. I
It's
know my
real.
sister. I know my sister don't get up at 3. I don't even gotta ask you.
Yeah. But
She's just like me.
there is a requirement. There's a requirement that you have,
Yeah.
inside of you, that you will not stop until you accomplish this.
Yeah.
And that's the energy. And that's one of the things that always gets overlooked in entrepreneurship is forget the cash. If you don't have the energy to endure the tough times when you don't have anything,
Yeah.
you're not going to make it.
That's amazing that you said you're up at 3. Shout out to Eric Thomas, ET the Hip Hop Preacher. I'm certified with him, and he gets up at 3 a.m. He says it all the time, and I called him on it one time. He was up at 3, but I'm like, yo, how do you do this, bro? But he was like, yo, power naps. I ain't never took one now. I'm like the phone. You don't charge the phone up, it ain't gonna act right that day. You charge that joint all the way up, let it get to 100.
Yeah.
Once that 100, unplug, he's straight for the rest of the day, and then after that thing is out, I'm out.
Yeah.
You get up at we're gonna talk about that.
I do not get
I
up
do
at 3.
not at all.
But I'll answer the question. So for me,
Is it in your blood?
straightforward, I think that entrepreneurship can be learned. I think it can be learned. Just if I'm looking at both sides of it, yes, you can learn it. But at the end of the day, it takes the right person to receive it. The right person has to be able to be taught how to be an entrepreneur. The real life scenario, it has to be in you. It can't just be on you. I can't make you do something that you just cannot comprehend. You have to be open to understanding. You have to be open to being that person that gets up at 3 a.m. and staying up till 2:30 a.m. Many nights, for years, I didn't get no sleep. 30 minutes of sleep, power naps. For years, you got to break down every wall within you, every negativity within you, every block within you to say, I want to go for what I know for myself. Because you can build up another person. You're working for somebody. They're the entrepreneur. You're the employee. You're the workhorse. You're pulling this thing. But can you give that same energy to yourself?
But see, it goes back. I don't know, because it goes back to you just said it's in you.
You have to be
That means when
willing
you say
to
it's
break
in
it.
you, I'm saying in you, like your blood, your. Okay, here's what I'm saying, and y'all help me out, because I done gave up on it, right? I used to think, because you can teach it. That means everybody can be an entrepreneur. You can teach it.
But I think it has to be paired with desire.
Right.
Right.
That
Strong
means
desire.
the
in you part.
desire comes within you.
That's the in
So
you part.
therefore, we're
Right.
going back
That's
to
it. Yeah.
is it in
That's
you,
what I'm
Right.
saying.
You
It's
or
very
can you
difficult to
teach
answer.
it? So
Yeah.
we're back to
Yeah.
you got to be in you.
Right.
You
right?
can teach systems.
Yeah.
There are systems that
Right.
you can use
Yeah.
that can help you out in your business. You can teach those things, but it has to be in you for the sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
That you have to be that warrior.
Yes.
To not a soldier, because a soldier takes orders. A soldier, you do what you told to do.
Yeah.
A warrior is someone that maintains sovereignty.
Yeah. And you'll find out, and I guarantee you, everybody listening, go back to when you was a kid. If you was the kid that when you lost the game, it was nothing. But if you was a kid like me, you don't play that. We don't play that losing. You losing, you don't got it. Nobody else got to say nothing to you. You beating yourself up. You crying because you're emotional. You like, man, I lost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go back to it. Think about it. When you was hustling, I don't know. You know, I talk to people all the time when they first did something. You did the skin joint. You know, I remember. Hey, I did the now laters. I don't know if y'all know.
Yeah, sure.
We slinging
Now laters at school.
now laters and-
Watermelon.
Yeah, so
Banana.
you go back to that, and then okay. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. So I had a question with my wife. Shout out to my wife. And so she said to me, do you do anything for fun for yourself? Like, you know how cats be like, I play Madden and they play golf and they do the
Ride
tennis
bikes.
joints and they they ride the bikes and fishing. I don't do none of that. I really don't. I love spending time with my family. I love spending time with my son. As long as it's with them. But I had to do a self inventory check of myself, and I said, dang, entrepreneurship for me is almost like a sport.
Yeah.
You got to get in the game. Am I looking at the right? Do y'all feel this way about?
I totally feel that way. Now, I do like to go out on the boat, on the yacht. I love to fly private with my honey. He's a pilot. I love the spa. But there's nothing like a new project. There's nothing like a new venture. There's nothing like the rush you get when you're doing a deal.
I thought it was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I thought, maybe I need to check. My favorite TV show is the Shark Tank. I look at it like it's the Super Bowl. Yo, who gonna win? Who's on teams? Who gonna get the deal? Oh man, you messed up on that deal. You was greedy. So I want to hear from you, Ren. Like I know, I've talked to you. We met at the 360 brunch joint. It looked like you was doing business with your son. It looked like you was pouring into your son. And shout out to Rock T, man, because I don't know what type of stunt doubles y'all got going on.
My man, Rock T.
Y'all look so. I thought you was Rock T when I first came in there. But do you look at because I had to learn life balance as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, what happens is we have to be dad and put the phone down. We have to be husband and put the phone down. We can't be, you know what I'm saying? And that was hard for me. I finally got it. I think my wife said I got it. So y'all got to check in with her. Make sure my report card is good. Mm-hmm. But do you feel like it's a sport to you? Is it like a fun? Because you got the got tos versus get to. I feel like we get to do what we do. What you feeling?
Yeah, for me, it's my life. I'm a golfer. So I love playing golf with my clients. So I'm always working, building relationships. And when you saw me with my son, when I had a job, I wasn't a great teacher to my son and my daughter. But now that I have the business, they're the legacy. They're the ones that I'm passing everything to. So I get to spend more quality and much more legacy building time with them. And it's priceless.
Yes.
It's priceless. Because our overall vacations are a write-off.
Yes.
It's a write-off.
So you feel more comfortable because everything is less stress.
Yes, less stress because it's about us. It's not about, I don't have to compromise my morality for somebody else's agenda. The agenda is mine.
Yeah.
And so it's the family.
What do you feel? Shout out to you and your beautiful daughters and your family. I see you work balance, but you on that plane a lot. So you sacrifice a lot of late nights, early mornings.
Yeah.
Is it a sport to you? Is it a thrill? Is it a drive? And I'm asking maybe for therapy because I'm like, is it me and all the entrepreneurs in the world? But Benaisha Poole-Watson, you talk about master manifestation. I haven't seen too many things that you have said that you wanted and you're going to get and to obtain. And I remember that time we said, you're like, hey, bro, I'm going to get, you see this B on my necklace? I'm going to be driving in the B. And that stands for Bentley. Shout out for you and what you're driving. But I love, that. But, working life balance as an entrepreneur because some people can crash this thing and lose their wives.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. I mean, how do we balance it out and how do you balance it?
I mean, for me, I want to go back to the question too because I look at entrepreneurship. I always thought it was like a Rubik's Cube. Remember that?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That Rubik's Cube where we are fighting to get those colors together.
Right.
Yeah.
Well
And
said.
when you get that yellow, you feel so good.
Man.
But you going to stay there all night till you get that yellow, boy. You going to go for weeks until you get that yellow. Then you get the yellow with the one white. And you got to fix it. And it's killing you. You got to start all over.
True.
That's entrepreneurship for me. If you're not dedicated to get to that all yellow, to get to that all red, and then you turn it around, that green is messed up, you got to start all over. This is the dedication that you have to entrepreneurship. So, yeah, it's a sport. 100%. It's not a sport in the sense of I'm going to win a trophy at the end because your trophy may not come for 20 years. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Man.
This is not an overnight success. None of us here in this room today started yesterday. None of us started 5 years ago.
Man.
This is a making in the work. So
This
that
has been-
Rubik's Cube, it took us a long time to get these colors
That's
to make
right.
sense
That's
and to feel comfortable with the
that's
colors.
so
It
good.
took us a long time for us to say, you know what? I'm comfortable enough to be a voice for my family instead of having to lean on the man and his ideas and his things and his goals and his whatever. Now I can start and lead my family with no qualms, no pressure.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm a true leader as a human being, as a man, as a woman. So it's like you have to put yourself in a mindset first to be dedicated enough to spend hours, sometimes years. I may have to
Yes.
crisscross my legs and sit in the same spot for 18 years to figure out this thing, or am I going to throw it out the window with the baby? That's entrepreneurship. That's how you unlock
Man,
the doors to success. Those people who sat there, who dedicated themselves, who worked hard day and night, long hours,
respect.
getting no's, getting
Yes.
told yes, helping people, maybe getting some complaints in a way. Maybe you didn't help someone enough. We do so much for other people as entrepreneurs that sometimes you may not help somebody the way that they want to be helped.
Man,
You done
listen,
spent hours.
listen, and she said it right there.
It's too much.
I already know y'all got the sauce and it's getting real hot. I need y'all to get ready. Stay tuned. It's your Entrepreneur Blueprint. It's man, Dream motivates. Stay tuned with Jewel Tankard, my man David Wren, and Benaisha Poole-Watson. Let's go. What up, guys? Man, Dream Motivates University. Here's what you get with your tuition. Number one, you're going to get an awesome Letterman jacket, t-shirt, and wristband. Let's deep dive. We're going to get discounts on all events and courses, a list of Zoom masterclasses with skilled instructors, access to our amazing book club. We're also going to give you discounts to all marketing materials brought to you by Dream Media Agency. And last but not least, discounts on all our merch. I can't wait. I'll see you on the other side. DMU, Dream Motivates University. Let's get it. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Blueprint. My sister Jewel Tankard, David Wren, and Benaisha Poole-Watson. Listen, off camera it'd be so dope that y'all be missing it. That's why y'all just gotta stay tuned. But I want to go ahead and give value right now, right? I just ask you if y'all can bless us with one thing, because you can't take it with you. One thing about entrepreneurship when it comes to knowledge that we can, like, I don't care if it's an app. I don't care, man, y'all need to do this. I don't care if it's like, yo, you start doing this and do this and then you get that. Because I want to give everybody value because they got their, they ready. We got their attention, right? So, Joel, could you do me a favor? I love, like, please, and we're going to bust open your social media so people can follow all of you guys. Your story is just so amazing. But if you could, if it was a nugget that you would bless somebody to leave on earth, what would that one thing be to just say, man, this is what changed my life? What would that be?
I would definitely say, and I think all of us have kind of said it, depend on God every step of the way. Depend on him when you feel totally adequate and when you feel totally inadequate. And then talk to your family. I know Benaisha and David basically talked about their children. I think Ben and I talk about this a lot. You know, our children saw a lot of success, but what we did not expose them to is the times when we were having great challenges or financial pressure, because people just assume, oh, you're a multiple millionaire. So that means, no, that just means that while this person might need 5,000 by tomorrow, I need 50,000 or 500,000. So I think that we could have did a better job, and we do it now, but we talk to them a lot more about, you know what? I'm confident that we're going to come through this, but today was a hard day. Because we're just kind of happy people, so they just always saw us up. And we had a family meeting one day, and they were like, we feel like it's kind of hard to be a tanker. We were like, what you talking about? And they said, because you and Daddy just seem like y'all always got it to get together. And we had to apologize and was like, no, that's not the case. We have private conversations that we haven't brought you guys into, but now that they're adulting, we realize we should have exposed more of the challenges, the weaknesses, and inadequacies to our journey. And so now we bring them into it. I literally was on a call with my daughter yesterday, and I said, let me call my property manager about something. And we kind of got into a little situation where I had to kind of stand my ground on some things. And I'm very fair and I'm generous, but I also felt like they were trying to, like, really get over on me. And my daughter got the phone. She's like, Mom, thank you. Because that's what I need to see. So that's what I would say. Make sure you don't just expose the success. Expose when it's, hey, I don't feel good. Or this was an L. Like, it's okay to do that.
I love it.
Isn't
Man,
that hard,
that's
though?
such a nut, huh?
Isn't that hard? Because, like, we grew up seeing all of the struggles that our parents went through, right?
Yep.
I mean,
I sure did.
domestic violence,
I was in the
Yeah.
middle of all that.
Speak it.
drugs,
Yeah.
Speak it, Benaisha.
things that we deal with in inner cities, because we're all from inner city communities.
Right.
Right.
And then we try to elevate ourselves and we try to expose our kids to better.
Yep.
And then it's like, how do we go to the left of it?
Right.
And then they want to see the
spoiled
struggle.
brats.
It's like,
They
but
spoiled.
nobody argued in front of us. We never
Yeah.
saw that. But I don't
Yeah.
want to, because I
Right.
saw somebody getting dragged in
Man,
real
that's
life.
A whole
Like,
masterclass
you
right
know,
there.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh God, how do you do
Yeah,
it? There's
how do you
no
do
book
it?
for parenting. It's so difficult.
Definitely
but
not. Definitely
I
not.
feel you on that, because my daughter
Yeah.
actually did the same thing, and I love my kid.
Oh, wow.
So she's gonna watch this. So I love you.
Shout out
Yeah.
to you.
Don't
Yeah.
get mad at me.
Uh,
But listen, we had a conversation, and it was in reference to her being exposed to better. And she said, well, you were a single mom and everybody else had a mom and a dad in the house. Like, baby, that's a blessing. That means that I was the big pictures. I was
Yeah.
able to do what
Yeah.
it takes two people to
Right.
do.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
That's a boss.
Yeah.
That's a
whole
Absolutely.
That's a leader.
Yeah.
Look up to that
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
if that was my mom doing that, I'd be like,
Yeah.
man, my mom, I want to be like that.
Right. Right.
But no, it didn't work out like that. It was like, nah, I wanted to be like everybody else, because I saw that they had a dad and you had nobody, and it was kind of like, oh man, like
Yeah.
that hurt.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to just figure it out, and I
Yeah.
know somebody's probably going through this right now.
Absolutely.
Without doubt.
Because I'll say this really quickly. Because the thing is the toughness that it takes for success. I think this generation is missing that. They are quick to, anxiety, depression. Like, wait a minute, what happened to the stuff that Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman had? Like, they had a grit and a gut and a gangster
Yeah.
that I think you're gonna really need for success. So you're right. And I realized, I was like, oh, we got to put some more of that stuff in you.
Right.
Look, my daughter, the young one, she said she was depressed. She said I was depressed for a week. I didn't take a shower. I said, depressed? I said, you depressed? You got your own bedroom, your own bathroom. You go to the refrigerator when you want
She got
to.
options.
You live in a mansion
Yo.
with a pool in the back and a 3-acre backyard. You can
Take
go
her
like
back
a
to
park.
LA. Take her back
I
to
had
LA.
to look for the park in my sleep because I couldn't get to one in real
Oh,
life. Like,
Lord.
the park was in my dreams, and you can run all up
Right.
and down here. So depressed.
Yeah,
Depressed.
I know, right?
You know, and you're right, Jewel and Benaisha. The thing is that we having smartphones that are turning into dumb people.
Whoa.
And the connection, the human connection,
Yeah.
is really what's being missed. This is
Yeah.
because ministry starts with another person,
That's right.
someone investing in you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get that from a device. And so that's really one of the things, the convenience of today is actually compromising our mental stability in so many ways. And I would really say one of the things for me that was very important is I live by this. Never let impatience take what time is going to give you. Don't be hasty about anything. You're going to have to start at the bottom. You
Yes.
can't become a champion until you first learn how to lose.
That's a good one.
I didn't become, and I'm not where I am, but when I lost everything,
Yeah.
it was when I lost everything. I remember, having, just becoming a millionaire, and I lost everything.
Yeah.
And what it really did was that my overall worth and value is not determined by a currency.
Come on.
It's determined by my overall standards of commitment.
Yes.
So that's the wealthy is you. So you have to really understand the value of yourself and
Yeah.
everyone else around you.
Yeah.
This is why you can become Benaisha. Jewel is so gracious. These are gracious people
Yeah.
because they struggled
Yeah.
in getting what they got and they appreciate it. So once you get somewhere, you haven't arrived. It's just your turn at being at that point. What are you going to do?
Man, that's so powerful. Shout out to I was speaking at this career development center, right? What you were talking about, and my story. I grew up. I don't know if how y'all, you had a whole cool. Y'all had Rolls Royces and all that. That was crazy. Mine didn't look like that. So mine looked like roach infestation, low self-esteem. We used to have to wear the same thing, and so we didn't have the washer and dryer, so our clothes would smell, you know what I mean? And I would walk around my head down, and those kids would make fun of us. And we had no name brand shoes. And shout out to whoever invented, XJ900s, but that's straight up disrespectful. Those some shoes for Pro Wings and Payless had made, and the kids would make fun of me, and I would just be so embarrassed. And it was a dark time in my life as I grew up. And I was telling this to a career development center. It's about 300 kids in the room. And afterward, everybody hugging me and giving me pictures, and it's all good. And there's this one lady just staring at me, man. It made me feel uncomfortable. She was just looking at me, she was crying. And she walked up to me, and she was crying, and she said, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what's wrong? Who are you? And she said, I know you don't remember me because, she don't look the same, but she said, you look exactly the same way you did in school. I was
Wow.
one of the kids. I was one of the kids that make fun of you.
Wow.
And she told me who she was, and I remembered. I had the flashback because she was one of the main ones.
Wow.
And she said, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But what I told her was, you did me a favor.
Wow.
Right.
You built this.
Yeah.
I had to go through that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
I had to see that pain.
Yeah.
And I said, no, you good. No, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
She was bawling. Like
Maybe because she was a teacher and you was teaching the class.
that's great. She just
I would ball too.
and she was here's the thing.
Right.
She told me she was financially doing bad right now.
See
They
how
were
it
about to do a
turns?
big layoff at school. She's been trying to do her own business. She needs a coach. She needs entrepreneurship. She needs marketing. All the things that I do. I own a marketing firm. I'm a coach. And she said, please forgive me. Just please. I said, oh, we good. I promise you we're good.
Yeah.
But those L's, like you said, we got to take them.
Yeah.
Those L's are lessons. That's that pain that you got to feel. Like, yo, I ain't going back to roaching.
Yeah.
Like, when I say roaching, like, people say roach infestation. No, I'm talking about roaches.
Well-
Everywhere you looking is, I mean, they're all over it, and they will bite at night
Wow.
on your face. I'm so serious. I'm not making this up. This was my life, bruh. So that's why I tell people all the time, bruh, you ain't gonna beat me. I'm a winner. I don't do losing too well. I don't do the losing.
Yeah.
I'm a grind. You know what I'm saying? And it's that dog that's been in me. It's always been in it, And sometimes you just gotta be around the same frequency.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The energy and the exposure. So I want to talk about that. How has exposure changed y'all? Like for me, I'm going to just start off with me, real simple. I remember going to a friend's house for the very first time, and it's smelling so good.
Wow.
It's a very smell. Like my
Wow.
house, you know how people have
Yeah.
mothballs and
Yeah.
they don't smell it?
Yeah.
It just smelled like house.
Yeah.
Right.
I went to my man's house and it smelled like amazing. And I asked him, bro, what's that smell? Now he not smelling it, but he's saying this first time I ever been it's out of my house. He said, man, it's a plug-in. What you talking about? Exposure, right? Never seen a plug-in in my life.
Yeah.
So exposure, even a small to big, how has exposure, changed your perspective? Could be you have been through so much, like, and you ain't afraid to get, you're a whole boss on top of bosses right now. How has exposure changed your life?
So when I think about exposure, I think about when I was growing up in South Central Los Angeles, urban community, everything simple about it. But on the weekends, what my mom would do when she wasn't working is she would take us into model homes. And she wasn't going to buy. I knew as a kid she couldn't afford to buy. Even though I didn't know what was in her bank account, I knew she didn't have anything that we was looking at. Impossible. And she would walk us through these homes and we would actually make fun with it. Like, oh, look at that vase and look how they put that picture and the colors. And then we would kind of have we would have fun with it, and we would take the information that we received from walking through these homes, and then we would go to Target, Kmart, whatever the store was at that time, and we would walk in the store and kind of mimic whatever we saw.
Wow.
So we would go shopping for the plates and the vase and the pictures and the drapes and the blah, blah, blah. And it was a little thing that we had. But walking through those homes exposed me to the other side, because we weren't living like that. We had a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, South Central LA house, cookie cutter, typical yellow, bright yellow house.
Yeah.
The backyard was huge,
Palm
but
trees.
the inside,
Yeah.
palm trees in the yard. It was just a standard California living. And but seeing that, and then on the other side of it, she would also take us down to Skid Row.
Hmm.
And my mom was smart, man. I never would think like to do that
Wow.
right now today, but she was so smart because she would take us from both spectrums.
Take the good
So
and
now
the
you
bad.
see people sleeping on the road with needles in their arms
Yeah.
and people fighting in the streets and stabbing each other and doing crack or whatever they were doing at that moment. And as we pass by and you're a little kid just holding on to the window like, look at that. It's like, just planting it in your seed, the mindset. So now you're able to, which one do you want to choose? You got the blue pill and you got the red pill. Which
Man.
one do you want to go for?
Man.
And I chose the pill that was going to put me in a big house with the colorful vases
Come
and,
on.
and expose me to that. And that's how I ended up into real estate. Subconsciously, I ended up in real estate. She also took me and put me in programs with the LAPD. Ultimately, I ended up in law enforcement without even realizing that I was a part of this coming up. Exposure is huge.
Exposure, cool. And I got some bonus minutes on the back end, but I want you to go ahead and tell us on exposure because I need to hear from both you guys before we get out of here. Exposure.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's so much exposure with so many different people. Jewel has been a part of my exposure. Benaisha has been a part of my exposure.
Definitely.
People giving you opportunities, trusting you, and actually sharing in collective prudence. Both of these ladies, and you do this, and I love that. So, but the exposure that probably I want to speak about that was the most important to me was my grandmother. My grandmother lived through the Great Depression. And she exposed me to what was going on during the Great Depression.
Wow.
And I used to sit under my grandmother, and she would tell me all of these things. And I think, when we look at it, starts as, in seedlings, right? Who nurtured us, And so my grandmother would tell me about how they made it through the Great Depression. And she told me that made it through the Great Depression because they were prepared. And they end up being ballers from that.
Wow.
And she told me, you're going to live this in your life, so you better get on board now. This is
Come on,
this
Grandma.
is in the 70s,
Wow.
in the 80s when I'm sitting under my grandmother who lived to be over 100.
Wow.
And that exposure was the most important exposure because that was the exposure of someone really investing in me to make sure that I would be able to get past what was coming because she knew it was coming in my lifetime. And she was so right. So for me, that exposure was the most
Powerful.
important one.
Jewel Tankard,
Wow.
please. And I know you got a whole bunch of them. But which one was the most impact? Like, what are you thinking?
I think seeing my parents growing up, at the time I didn't realize it, but we literally would have like 2 or 3 housekeepers that would come in, pick us up, take us to school, drop us off. Summertime we couldn't sleep in. We had to go to theater camp or science camp. And I used to be angry because I'd be like, all my friends get a chance to sleep in the summertime. They kept us in really rigorous private schools that made us think and act. And my dad always said, I don't ever want my family in the ghetto. And he kept his promise to that. So when I became an adult, it was easy for me to develop a team and help. It wasn't anything that I had to work to receive. It just kind of came natural to get, we have multiple homes all over the country. So it became natural, like, okay, the Atlanta home, I got a cook and a housekeeper. Detroit home, a cook and a housekeeper, because I realized the value of the team. So if I get the team, then I can keep creating. But if I
Yeah.
get caught up in labor, then it's going to slow me down.
Yes.
So I've learned, but I love it because my parents were always very kind people. They were very conscious that whether somebody worked for them or not, thank you was a part of it. Appreciate Christmas time. They gave gifts and they really instilled in us, you're going to be highly successful, but you should be some of the sweetest, wealthiest people in the room. It shouldn't be you're wealthy and you treat people bad.
Right.
So my exposure to them being super kind and super successful has rolled over. So even when we were doing TV, we would have family meetings and tell our children, like, we don't care how many people want your selfie or how many people want your autograph. You want to make sure that when they leave your presence that they had an experience, that you genuinely looked them in the eye and said, thank you for watching, thank you for following, thank you. Just being super, super grateful and gracious to people along the way, I think was probably my biggest impact.
Man, listen, manifestation is what they all been talking about because y'all seen it. You went through the house. You talked to your grandmom, so you was visualizing what was going on, and you seen it tangibly. You had a whole Fresh Prince of Bel Air lifestyle, but we want to go ahead and give it up for the wealth chat real quick. I definitely want y'all to tune in for y'all podcast. I'm super excited for what God is about to do with that. A lot of people's life is about to change. We're right here at the Entrepreneur Plant. We're running out of time, but I definitely want you guys to follow all my guests. Just give a shout out real quick. How can they get you on social media?
Jewel Tankard.
Jewel Tankard.
Prosperity Mint.
And
I am Benaisha with a B.
just like that. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Blueprint. Tune in, subscribe, and make sure y'all do yourself a favor. Rewind the parts you didn't hear. Let's go.